So, what's the truth about your potential as a footballer, as a person, as in any area whatsoever in your life? Because I get so many players and people, whether this is simply soccer or just in other areas, that severely limit themselves because they have this skewed idea of how good they can be at something. And usually this is because they're told by an authority figure or by teammates or by sometimes it's even one simple thing. Like it happens online. It's crazy in this day and age. Sometimes someone will get a comment or some feedback from someone that's negative, that tells them they're not good enough and they have no talent or whatever it is, and they end up believing it. And so I just want to let you know, and again, this is from years of experience, years of working with players, years of my own research as well, that no one truly can know your potential. There's not a single person on the planet that knows whether you can get somewhere or not, because it's undecided. The amount of players, for example, that I could give you that have been seen as players that would never make it to the professional level and then have, there's so many examples. They were told they would not. And I'm not just talking just any professional players. I'm talking about players you could even think of, famous players that were told when they were younger, you're not going to amount to anything because they had one crappy coach or they had a bunch of crappy people who weren't doing it because they, with the best interests of the player, but they were doing it because it was egoic, because they may have had a bad day. Maybe they were just bullies, whatever it was. And so to believe that someone else actually can tell you your potential or where you're going to be in a year from now, 2 years or 5 years is silly, because nobody knows. Nobody can tell. And it also can change based on what you do right now. A year from now, you could be in one place or a totally different place based on what you do over that year. And so your potential can literally change based on your actions, based on what you decide to do. And so what this is really more about is just letting you know that no one can tell you your potential. So if someone says to you, you suck, or you're not going to amount to anything, or you can't go pro if that's what you want, or you can't get better, or you can't, whatever it is, you don't have to believe it. Because who is anyone else to tell you that you can or cannot do it? Again, you can see examples of professional, you could be like, well, this really good coach or this really good player told me this. And I could give you examples of professional players who were told by professional coaches that they weren't going to amount to much, that went on to become incredible players at the professional level. You can see examples of people on YouTube. I know I give this example all the time, but Brandao, the amount of just critics in his comments sometimes, they're like, he's not good enough, he'll never amount to anything, he'll never sign a professional contract. And then he goes off and does it. Why? Because he believed he could, because he put in the work, because he decided, you know what, I'm going to decide my own potential. I'm not going to listen to these people who, it's inconsequential for them. They're not affected by whether you do it or you don't. So don't take them so personally. So the truth about your potential is no one can actually tell you what it is. I can't tell you what it is either. I get so many comments from players that go, hey man, I'm good at this, blah, 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 this. Do you think I can become a pro? And I don't know, is the simple answer. There's so many elements that go into this. There are players who have been infinitely talented and skilled enough to become pros who don't as well, because of maybe a lack of attitude or a lack of consistency. There's so much that goes into it. But the point of this is, don't allow anyone to try and determine for you what your potential is. Just tune out the people that tell you that you can't in anything in life. It doesn't really matter what it is. This could be non-football related. You can't go off and do this. So I don't know what it would be. I know for a lot of you it would be football. But anything you feel pulled towards in life, like I want to be a better footballer, I want to be this kind of person, I want to make a certain amount of money. It doesn't really matter. This can be any realm. Don't let anyone else tell you what your potential in that area is. Ultimately, at the end of the day, for the most part, you actually get to decide. Again, you can see players who may have not been so great, and they were told like, yeah, you know, you're never going to amount to much because the person can only see them as they are and they don't see what they truly could become. But that person decided, I'm not going to believe you. I'm believing in this vision I have for myself, and then they'll go off and do amazing things. But the problem is most people quit when one person or a few people criticize them. But again, guys, this is your life. This is your opportunity. This is your potential we're talking about. So the truth about it is nobody knows. And the only way to find out what your potential truly is to go for what it is you want. And the way I look at it is if you truly go for what it is you want, you won't ever regret it. Because even if you don't get to a certain level or a certain place, you'll at least look back and go, you know what, I learned so much along the way, and you will always take something valuable away from that. You will always take something valuable away from actually moving towards something you want and actually giving your passion the time that it needs to grow. You will always get something out of it. You know, for like, I can give you an example for myself. You know, I'm not a professional player, but I was able to take my passion and create Simplysoccer around it, and I'm able to now do the thing I love pretty much every single day. And yeah, it's not in the way that I thought of it when I was a kid, but because I actually pursued it, you know, I played for so many years, I tried to get better as much as I could. I love what I do. You know, I don't need it to be a certain way. I just got out of it what I'm doing now, and I love that. But if I had at 14 years old gone, you know what, this is never going to amount to anything, and I stopped playing because if someone told me along the line, and I can go over this in another video, and I had this happen by a coach, and then I think I've told this story, and then I got better 2 years later and proved them wrong. But if I'd given up at 14 or 13 or whatever, you know, none of this happens. This video never happens. This channel never happens. So many other things I'm doing just don't happen because I allowed someone else to try and tell me what my potential was in life and football and whatever else. So just keep that in mind. The truth is nobody knows, and only you can really determine what it is for yourself. So if your goal is to become a much better footballer, to be a pro, to play in college, I don't know what it is for you. Again, this is all based on your needs, on what you want. Don't let anyone determine how far you can go. Because again, you can find thousands of stories of people who are told by who the hell knows. It doesn't even matter who it is, guys. I don't care if the person you look up to the most comes up to you and tells you you can't. You know, you absolutely can. And nobody truly knows what your potential is. So stop giving all your power to other people, allowing them to dictate what it is you can and can't do. If you want something, go for it. That's end of, really. And that's going to allow you to get to places that you may have not even thought possible at one point in time. And it may lead you, in like my case, it may lead you to where if my 14-year-old self saw where I was now, he'd be like, wow, that's not how I saw that playing out, but that's really cool. And I think my 14-year-old version of myself would be very happy with where I am now because I actually, you know, kept going. So that's just hopefully something that will inspire you to understand it doesn't matter what anyone else says about how far you can or cannot go. It's all about what you want to do. And if you want to do something, just go for it. Don't worry about the critics or whatever. What anyone tells you, a friend, a parent, a coach, I don't care. If it's what you want, go for it. All right? That's it, guys. I'll see you in the next one.